My first trip of 2021. We're still in the coronavirus pandemic. I want to understand how it is to travel within Europe. This Enjoy, this Fiat 500, this is what I usually use to get from Florence Center to the airport. It's super easy, 25 cents per minute, and I think it's good to go. 11 kilometers, 25 minutes, and it costs €6.25 to use that Enjoy, the share car here in Florence. Today's destination, traveling in Europe. I'm going from Florence to Barcelona for a team camp. The team is Chris Froome's new team, Israel Startup Nation. And I'm curious to find out what it's like to travel with the coronavirus pandemic still hanging over our heads. So this trip is gonna help me find out. Corner here at the airport, and this airport's definitely in lockdown mode. Although Florence and Italy is in zone yellow now, the yellow zone, the lowest of the 3 zones. The bars are open, the restaurants are open, people are going in and out. You can dine at some of these most of these places you can dine. Here at the airport, the situation's a little bit different. Normally I go down to a place, some beautiful greenery here. I have to give the airport, the Florence airport, points for that. Now, a big story from a long time ago when I think one of my first trips to Italy, I had to fly out of Florence going back to the United States. I had to wake up like at 5 o'clock, 4:30 early in the morning, drive to the airport. These were the days before GPS smartphone navigation, and I was going around the dark early morning streets. I was late trying to find my way to the airport. Eventually I found the airport. I was so late. The rental car I just left right in front of the airport. The car was parked in a bad spot, and that's still the same little quaint airport. They made some renovations, but mostly it's a small little airport. Now, as I was saying, normally I usually go down to this restaurant bar area at the other end because it has these massive windows with a beautiful view of the planes coming and going and a place to get a coffee. But today that cafe macchiato is from the only open place in the Florence airport. What's interesting is all these seats and these tables say do not sit here, but we have no other choice. If they're selling food, we have to eat it somewhere. So that's an indication of what's going on. Coming into the airport, there was the sanitizing mist we had to pass through, and everything's just that much more complicated. I'm flying with Wellington today. Wellington, I love you. I paid for the Time Flex upgrade, but I forgot to get my carry-on hold luggage bag. I thought that was included in the Time Flex. Come on, Wellington. I paid 50 bucks to check in my bag, but it's got all my lighting, all my tripods, everything I need for the upcoming days. The feeling here at the Florence airport is a lot different than it was even this last summer of 2020 when we had that dip in the curve, because now the curve's up. People are worried about this new infectious virus, the new corona strand coming in from England.
The British government warned that a new strain of the virus is, quote, out of control. It's also been identified in Italy.
We saw some people boarding planes in hazmat suits, but for the majority, people were wearing masks, some of them a face shield over the mask to be extra careful. Everybody's keeping the distance, and that's good to see, but in general, you need to add an extra hour onto your travel time these days. That was the reality in 2020, and that's also the reality now heading into 2021. Wear a mask, anything you have. Wear a face shield, look like MF Doom on the plane.
Depends on your status or your stature.
The great rapper who passed away recently. I'm very careful, even setting up this area here. I made sure I was away from all the people to do that. The other thing to take note of is that there's a lot less flights. Florence already has a minimal number of flights, but now there are even less. I think on the board I saw like 4 flights today. Look at this, like a vegetarian sandwich. Italy has all this great prosciutto, pancetta, all these salamis, formaggio, cheese. I try to stay away from those cold cuts because there's a lot of processing in those, and they say they're really not good for you. So when I get a chance, I grab a vegetarian sandwich or anything vegetarian, get my water. But I'm not vegetarian, I'm not vegan, I love meat. We had rabbit recently, cornilio, oh, the lamb's really good. Pigeon for Christmas, wonderful. Traveling now is a pain in the ass, to be honest. All these little things, they add up. You need to give yourself extra time. Although it only takes me 25 minutes from the door to the airport, You need time here at the airport. The lines are much longer. Thankfully I had that time flex and I was able to skip the long line because there was a long line at the Wellington check-in. Do not sit here signs. They're trying to space everybody in the airport. But once you get on the plane, you're packed in there, one next to another. All the seats are filled. So you gotta kind of wonder, what's the point of having these seats, alternating seats, spacing everybody apart in the airport when you just smash them in an airplane with all that recirculated air? It's not good. Let's hope Europe gets the vaccine soon. Anyway, I need to go board my flight.
Tripulación, señoras y señores pasajeros, entramos en...
Bienvenidos a Barcelona, donde hemos aterrizado a las 4 menos cuarto hora local.
Quick snack for the road before the sun goes down. After driving north from Barcelona up here near the coast, near Girona, I'm finally here. There were a lot of checks along the way. This is traveling in 2021. I'm now at the Emporda Golf Resort Hotel. I'm here for the Israel Startup Nation team camp, and it doesn't really look pretty. The coronavirus numbers are still high, especially in the United States. In Europe, we've seen some lockdowns and it's kind of dipping back down again. As I mentioned before, when I left this morning, Italy is now in a yellow zone. Spain, there's a little bit more movement here now. We saw at the Barcelona airport, the shops were open. They were selling sandwiches, they were selling drinks, everything that you'd expect at an airport. It looked a little bit more friendlier than it did at the Florence airport, but there are a lot of controls. And so one thing you need to know before you're traveling in Europe is that you need to look on the airline's website, you need to look on the country's website, because if you're traveling in and out, you need to fill out a health form. And I did that, so it's simple. You have a QR code, and I took a screenshot of it. You show up at the border control and you show them the QR code. Traveling from Great Britain into Europe could be a problem right now because they were tipped off as the first people to have that new strand of coronavirus. Getting here from Italy to Spain, flying into Barcelona, and then I rented my car and I drove an hour north here to this golf resort. Looks pretty cool. There's supposed to be a great view out here. The guy said I had one of the best views in the whole hotel. Room 231. If you're ever here, check out this room. Now, flying into Europe from outside of Europe could be a little bit more difficult. So what do I make of this whole experience? Well, it's difficult. And I just spoke with one of my colleagues there, and he said he hadn't traveled in like 6 months. And so everybody's excited to start traveling again, or to travel at all after you've been cooped up in your house for so long. So yes, it's worth it. And a lot of places you have to have a work reason to travel, and that's why I'm doing it now. Check out the rules in each country, but it's definitely worth traveling. You gotta get out there. These hotels are desperate for people to come and visit. So if the region can support it, they will welcome you in with open arms. Like most things in life, it's a lot scarier until you finally do it for yourself, to see what it's like to experience it yourself. And you see the measures that people are putting into place to make things safe. And I must note, on the airline, there was a seat empty between all of us, so that was good. That's something that I didn't see in last summer 2020. I saw airlines that were jammed and people were all in there, so that may vary airline to airline. Back home in Italy, and there's one thing I learned from my travels to Spain and then back from Spain to Italy, is that you got to be prepared for everything. Basically, there's no standard rule for Europe. Every country has its own rules. Look, while I was away, some gifts arrived for me here in Florence. It's from La Passione. These are new socks. A PSN bright yellow jersey. Super soft. I love it, and I can't wait for the warm weather again. I'm not sponsored by these guys. I bought this with my own money. but I like this stuff from La Passione. Bright lemon yellow jersey and another pair of socks. Also, it is Logic keyboard, and see that? All those keys are color coded. So when I'm editing in Premiere Pro, it has all the shortcuts I need here, specifically designed for Premiere Pro. Listen to that. That's gonna make my video editing that much faster. You wanna know my tips for traveling? I'll tell you right here. One of the things you need to know, you want to bring extra mask. Today I was walking to the car, I had mine in my hand because no one is around, and I dropped it. Luckily in the car, in my bag, I had extra mask, so I was good to go. Hand sanitizer, look at this. This bottle I originally bought at the Dubai airport. I've been refilling it a few different times. This is what you need when you travel. You gotta have your mask, you gotta have your hand sanitizer, and of course the basics. You need power to charge your phone. Look at this, a big brick. It's a battery, it's heavy as hell, but you're always gonna have power to charge your battery when you're on the go. Look at that, you can see where I drove today. Those are the basic things you need when you travel. Mask, hand sanitizer, battery pack for phone, cables, all that stuff. What have you done so far in this 2021 year? We're already a few weeks into it. So has anybody traveled, or do you have plans to travel? And where do you wanna travel when you finally get that opportunity to travel again? Who do you want to visit? What country do you want to visit? Where do you want to go? Let me know, drop it down in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, the destination, yeah, that's great, but it's also the traveling, getting to the destination, just enjoying it. That's what I did getting here to Spain today. I enjoyed it, my first trip of 2021. And let's just hope all of 2021 is much better than 2020.